It's true.
It's like a graveyard over there.
Hey!
Hey!
Knock on wood. My desk is made of glass.
I've knocked
I got
on the wood.
I knocked on wood. We're good.
Hey, how you doing? Welcome to Jarviskjir Here Be Heroes. I will say I'm happy to be here. I've been sick all week and I'm happy to play some D&D. If I did not play D&D today, things would happen. So I'm glad to be here with my favorite boys, and we can get some stuff that don't do that, Will. That's a bit, little grabby hands.
Good to see you all. It's good to have you back.
It's good to have your back. How is everyone?
Oh, great.
Ooh.
Well, we were just talking about the Burwitt and Tobias fan fiction that Josiah wrote, so I mean...
Yeah, if you want to write Jarviskjir fan fiction that is connected to any OTPs, feel free. Please post them in the Discord at Will and Graham.
Please also tag Josiah when appropriate.
Or just always.
Just always, yeah.
I'm always looking for things to read before bed.
I wish you just stopped there. Just always looking for things to read. Such a wholesome yet somehow strange sentence. It's like something a toddler would write in their like learning to write book. I'm always looking for things to read.
Oh, what better to read than
Fan fiction.
Heroes fan fiction.
Yeah. Anyway, hey!
About the love triangle between Peru and Virik and Tobias.
There's a lot of brotherly bonds to explore there, one way or another.
Oh no.
Hey, that's why I figured it would be the most likely one. So, what happened last week? Well, you took a bit of downtime in the faraway coastal town of Palmoro. During that downtime, Aelinor and Brute cured the plague. Done. It has been cured. And gained the favor of the town. Brute focused on writing his book, which he's not done yet. Still got another week, I think. No, 2 weeks, because this is cut apart one of your weeks.
Yeah.
And during that time, Virik committed crimes. And they went to jail for those crimes because Aelinor told him to do so, to punish him. And while you were there, you met a strange gnoll and other strange individuals. And you were let out of prison on community service to deal with an ogre problem that the town's been dealing with. The ogres have been acting more aggressively. When you also let out of prison an insane gnoll, a person who mutinied his ship, and a goblin. The goblin that got away when you went and attacked the fountain. Just because why let one person out of prison when you can let 4 people out?
This is a new D&D party in the making.
It was probably the most D&D you guys have ever been when Baruch's
like their session 0 was
I
just
want...
getting from prison by an unknown benefactor.
When Baruch was like, I want to let them all out, and I was like, and I could just, no, he's like, why? I do. There's no real reasoning. He's trying to think of them, and I have frozen in time and space. And
you're good now, though.
Yeah, D&D times, D&D stuff.
That was the 4th dimension.
You think I'm in the 4th dimension? Psh, way beyond.
Every time I see that, I just imagine you going through that like scene from 2001.
I don't want to talk about what happens in the bad times. But you went out to deal with these ogres. You found that at a meeting stone where the ogres usually meet, there was an undead ogre that was filled with many spirits. You defeated it, and now you're the game tonight starts with a long rest. Tobias, you're not there yet. We'll get back to that. But why don't we start off by saying, hey, Brute, Virik, and Aelinor, who's going to take which watch on your rest?
I will take the middle watch, or the whichever one that takes place at dark.
That would.
It would be the middle because you're actually taking an early sleep tonight.
That's right, yeah. So I will take middle.
So, doesn't really matter, Varut. Which one do you want?
I'll take last. Well, I mean, yeah, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'll take first.
Sure.
Yeah, you're the least injured as well, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Aside from Virik, who is just, whatever. Virik and Brute, can you both give me perception checks?
What does that mean?
You don't want to know.
Oh my god!
We are off to a great start.
This is
Great!
Great.
Please, Holly. Okay.
Hey, Laura, unfortunately, you didn't get a perception check. You take the first watch where nothing happens. You see everything very clearly.
Oh god!
You're actually, you do get some stuff because the meeting stone was in a bit of a divot between several hills. It's a very hilly landscape out here, sort of between civilizations. So you set up on top of one of these hills where you can kind of watch the area around while you're camping. You actually do notice, kind of maybe taking a trudge around the meeting stone again because you defeated one. Like you were told, the ogres were being a problem. This was one ogre that doesn't look like it's been anywhere. It's probably just sitting here. You know there's some magic afoot, but Brute hasn't really looked into it, and you definitely aren't. You do definitely notice a bunch of fairly fresh ogre tracks that have been stomping around. There's been some commotion. That's really all you notice, and neither Brute nor Virik notice anything in the night. Virik, though, it's after your watch. I mean, as an elf, you only really need to transfer around 4 hours a night, but Virik is definitely one of those more relaxed elves who sleeps a bit more like a human. So after taking your watch in the middle of the night, you kind of lay back down on your comfy new pillow and relax. Close your eyes, and at this point, do you still pray to the goddess of dreams, or have you just kind of given up on that?
No, I would still do that.
It's after a simple little prayer that you feel yourself being lost in dreams when you wake up. And you haven't dreamt for weeks, ever since going to the Shadowfell. In the dream, you hear the lapping of water on a shore. A little wooden boat kind of jammed up against a shore of black sand. And a sky that is mostly dark, but with one... You can't tell if it's a sun or a moon. It doesn't cast a lot of light, but it is a dangerous sort of red-orange burning down. You think you're alone for quite a bit of time until you realize... It's one of those things where you definitely looked over to your right before, but after looking around, getting up, you see the ferryman. This large... cloaked figure wearing the garb that's kind of somewhere between just rags and somewhere between a naval officer's uniform, kind of hunched. You never really saw it before because you saw him from the front, but he has this hunched, arched over figure as these slightly bony hands are scooping up the sands and filtering wood and bone that's among them.
Okay.
when Virik most likely says that.
Yeah, no, that Virik would say that.
Yeah. The ferryman turns slightly enough that you can see the single red eye, which absolutely is the moon mimicking. You see kind of the grin form in the sort of void of which his face sits. And he beckons you over to a degree. You kind of, whether you take a step or not, feel yourself moving that way in the strange kind of shiftiness of dreams. Virik boy, there's a lot you don't understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Blanket statement.
Very
I
true,
was
though.
like you once. You require insight to do what I hope you want to do in the future. I'm willing to help you with that, my boy. I'm willing to help you.
How?
He has his hands, which are like bony and thin, but not skeletal. They filter out the sand again, and from it is a mask of bone. It covers your face quite completely, but it doesn't resemble either of the masks you have before. It's quite clearly made of bone, but it's bleached a much more stark white than natural bone or anything, and has very small umbral runes that you've come to recognize even if you don't read the language, carved over it. The eyes are slightly different shapes. It kind of has a... It's one of those things where in the right light this would be a very horrifying mask, but also in bright light it wouldn't look strange at all other than you're wearing a mask, but people wear masks. He will hand it over to you in a large hand, which seems to get smaller as he seems to get smaller to kind of be more your level, and put it into your hands quite firmly.
I mean, I've got a mask I kind of like already that I wear a lot.
You look through the eyes of this mask and you'll see the world much more plain.
What else will it do if I put that thing on? He's learning from Barut.
You see, because he's now your size, the smile grow much wider than a smile should grow.
Okay, that sounds like.
You're getting keen, which is good. A servant should always doubt their master, because those who follow blindly are useless.
Okay, but you didn't answer the question.
My boy!
You look through the eyes of this mask, you'll see a little more about the world. You'll understand a little bit more, and you can always take it off. It's just a mask. It's just a mask.
Okay, so if I take it off, it'll be the same as if I never put it on, right?
More or less. But you'll know what you'll be lacking.
Well, see, that doesn't make me feel like I want to put on the mask.
It's a gift. You can do with it what you want.
Right, dreaming. If I wake up, is this going to be like am I going to have this?
You ask that question and wake up like with a bone mask in your hands.
Okay, that's weird. Oh, and Barut would be what? Like this would be.
I
his
don't
watch as
think
well.
Barut would necessarily notice he's keeping watch for monsters.
No, but he might hear me say that because I would have said, "Okay, well, that's weird."
Yeah, probably.
I feel like Burrow probably, based on my perception check, is probably a little bit more inward camp focused at this point. So he's probably not paying as good
Stoking a
attention
morning
as he should.
fire,
Yeah,
looking at the fire.
Now looking at very, very confused and just
So this happened. Hold up the mask.
bring it here.
I'll bring it over.
To describe it
And-
better, now that you can see it clearly without the fog of dreams, while it has eye holes, it doesn't have mouth holes. It does have nose holes, though. It's kind of a bit of a monstrous visage, kind of like a hockey mask in a bit of a way, is the easiest way to describe it. And Barut could absolutely recognize the runes as being umbral, because even though he doesn't really speak the language, he understands it to a degree. You recognize the text that are carved in very minutely. Very delicate work has gone into this thing that looks like it wasn't carved at all. You know, it looks like it was almost grown.
So I'm going to cast Lore Keeping on the Umbral. Again, I'm assuming it's magical gibberish, but
It's magical gibberish, but it does seem to hold a little bit more. It like phrases repeat that mean things similarly to. It's more, you get the feeling of anything you lore keep, and you feel the phrases insight, vision, alertness, things of that ilk.
And I'm gonna take a minute to as well.
Yeah, you take some time. You're gonna take 10 minutes or 1 minute.
10 minutes.
Yeah, take some time because you got the camp, looking over the mask and the magic contained within. It is without a doubt Shadowfell magic, although it doesn't seem to have the overt shadowiness of. It's very subtle. It's very minute. It took someone a lot of time to make this, to subdue the power within, and the power within is wisdom. This is a mask that does increase the wearer's wisdom if it were lower to 14. So not making you the most wise person in the world, but giving a regular person a little more keenness, a little more perception, a little more as he said, and I imagine Virik probably would repeat what he remembers from the dream because you remember it very vividly. It would allow you to, especially considering the ferryman's sort of whole thing, slightly see a little bit more of the world, more of the spiritual side.
Burwood's gonna kind of run his fingers over it, and
you don't recognize any sort of curse or anything as well.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you. I'm going to hold it up and look kind of through the eye holes, but like reverse, so that I'm looking in. You know what I mean? Like I'm holding it up like a face to face thing, and I'm going to look through to whatever morning light there is to see just kind of like how it shines through the eyes, if at all. I imagine they're just plain eye holes.
They're just eye holes. There's no film or anything over them. Yeah.
And that's kind of like he's just checking that from like a scientific standpoint, just to make sure that there's no like things that are weird with that or anything. And he's going to hand it back to Virik, and he's going to say, so it appeared in your hands. Care to explain?
So I tried to do the dreaming thing again, and this time the ferryman showed up instead. And I made sure to ask that, like, what that if it would do anything permanent or anything like that.
There are no curses on it.
Good. And then I'll like go and explain the entire thing that just happened. It's, like, try and get it word for word as I can.
Show me with minor illusions and stuff as well.
Yeah.
The planescape or whatever.
I'll show that smile.
Yeah. It's a gift then.
I think so. Yeah.
What did he do when you questioned him?
Avoided it first, and then also he avoided it by complimenting me on questioning, and then said that you'll know more when you put it on, know what you lost. And I think I have a feeling what that means.
It will make you wiser if you wear it. That's the intent. Vision, purpose, perception of the world around you. A little bit more understanding. It is a gift.
Shall I put it on?
I am always wary of gifts from those who not just assume themselves, but rather place themselves above others. Gifts are given with a purpose, always. whether that purpose is out of kindness or out of a need. He wants you to be better so that you can serve him better. If you take that mask off, you will feel more like yourself, but you, ironically, will in some ways be wiser because you'll realize how much you don't know and how much you don't notice. Double-edged sword, that.
Well,
If you ever lose something like that, it's going to be a very stark difference for you. It's up to you, Didrik. I trust you to make your decision wisely.
okay. Thank
What
you.
was your second impression of him overall? Do you think he means
Better this time.
better this time?
I feel like he's trying to convince me now rather than just expecting me to do it.
Yeah, there's a reason for that. He's not stupid. He knows that Aelinor and I weren't exactly thrilled with the notion that you had sold your soul. Tobias, I'm not sure really understood, but I think he's coming around to it. But he knows that we would do almost anything to help you get your soul back. He's not stupid. He knows that. And he knows that ultimately we will do what you decide. So if he convinces you, then he keeps you.
Well, if he convinces me, then there would be has to have been a very good reason for that.
I suppose so. Are you convinced now?
No.
Burwood's gonna pat you on the shoulder and then kind of stand up and like stretch because he's probably been sitting by the fire for a little while and he just, Well, it's up to you what you do with that mask. I know that it would help you, but all gifts come with a trade-off.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about.
As
I'm
I
gonna.
said, trade-off isn't a curse, so at least there's that.
True. At least there's that.
Could have been worse. Could have been worse.
That's why I didn't put it on right away.
It's around now that you see Tobias trudging across the hills in the morning to try and find you. Tobias! During the downtime, you got acquainted with the local pit fighting community. There is actually a pit that people fight at called the Captain's Pit. Your first sort of inaugural proper battle. You did very well. You earned a lot of money. And then you've just been losing week after week, getting drunker and drunker, hanging out with the pit fighting crew, being mostly no use at all to anyone. But after hearing that the party had gone off through the gate to go and fight ogres, and a hunter can point you in the direction they were pointed in, you can trudge up to meet the party on the morning, top a hill at a very little, basic little camp.
I do so. I just come rolling up over the hill. I guess it's morning time at this point.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I trudge over said hill and find the party. I'm just gonna walk up to the camp. Like they know who I am, presumably.
Yeah. Yeah, look, it's Tobias.
You're a little more bruised than the last time we saw you.
What? Sorry.
You're a little more bruised than the last time we saw you.
One of my ears is just like swollen.
Full on cauliflower ears, just like.
Oh no.
Yep.
Yeah,
That looks
well,
painful.
it was great. Those guys are fantastic.
You seemed like you were having a good time. So, while you were doing that, we cured the plague. So that's
Oh, good. Super cool.
We also did you go back to the hotel room by any chance?
Not. No. I just kind of came straight here.
All right.
It's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Should I have? Why?
No. That's better that we introduce you to our new friends, I think. Rather
Bruin
than
is taking in some strays.
well,
Like cats,
Unfortunately, no.
dogs. Then.
Dog-like.
Sure. Whatever.
We killed
sure
that,
it's
and I'm
fun.
gonna go to gesture where the ogre corpse is. Is it
That
still
ogre
there?
corpse is festering. It is like
Yes.
it's been
I mean,
dead
it's been
for a
dead
couple
for a
of
long
weeks. Yeah,
Whoa,
and it's
that
just like
big?
now all the bugs are surrounding it, and there's actually like there would be vultures picking at it.
I am sending to Dumas,
Oh.
our pirate friend who has walked off to the goblin camp with our goblin,
Yeah.
and just saying, how goes your expedition, Dumas? We look forward to seeing you again soon.
Considering you can talk into my here brain, I ain't running. I'm with the goblin. We asked some questions. We got some answers. We'll meet you.
They'll meet us back at the hotel. Ugh.
I need to add.
Now, we dealt with one ogre. Not many.
And we still don't know why this one was resurrected as it was.
Yes, I'd actually like to look at the meeting stone a little bit more closely.
Someone was resurrecting ogres.
Well, it seemed like there was actually several ogre spirits all within the same festering ogre corpse that you see over there.
Maybe multiple ogres died recently and they were all put together.
Put together.
Like, oh.
Bruit's gonna walk over to the rags and the horrible corpse. Can I do a medicine check to determine if it's multiple ogres? I'm assuming it would be a disadvantage for this.
No, this is clearly one ogre. What you can give me is an
Okay.
Arcana check because there were all those bark
Right.
scrolls on the ground,
Sure.
jammed into the ground.
Oh, it was so close to being okay. I have no idea what this is.
You speak giant. You don't cast spells in giant.
Yeah.
The fact that you do get, just because it's common sense, but I will speak it out loud, these are
Yes.
clearly spells carved into the bark. You have seen other giant kin do it before. But other than that, you have no idea what this has connection to the ogre spirits, to the ogre body. Blade.
I have no idea about these in particular.
You know,
Can you
actually,
take
you
a copy?
can give me a medicine check.
I will do so. Eventually, when Roll20 allows me. There you go. 25.
It looks like this conjoining was willing. That this ogre let spirits into its body.
That's gross.
Now, you don't know why they would do something like that. You don't know the magic involved in something like that. But the ogre seemingly let itself die via magical means to have the spirits come into it.
Oh dear.
And it looks like it was attacked seemingly by other ogres at the similar sort of time. There are wounds that would only have been caused by something as big as an ogre or bigger in the body, as well as just general degradation, which of course wasn't as bad when it was being used as a spirit host.
Right.
But now it's just bone and meat.
So, this ogre appears to have let those spirits in willingly. I don't know why. I don't know the magic behind it. I don't know what that's about. But it also appears to have been fought by other ogres.
When you
So-
say that, I'm just gonna be like, who would willingly let another spirit into their body, and I pull out my flask of whiskey and start drinking it.
Burrow just gives kind of a wry smile and then looks over at the corpse once more, and then to the meeting stone. Are there any markings on the meeting stone?
Yes, but they're very simple. From being, you can give me a no, lore-keeping won't help here. I'm trying to think of what would be an insight roll.
Insight roll. That would be 19.
So ogres use these meeting stones as places of meeting. They're usually quite solitary. The markings on the stone don't really mean anything. There are a couple of basic symbols. If ogres worship, if this group of ogres that stayed together vaguely worshipped a particular god, it would be on the meeting stone. What you do actually notice is that it seems that someone was trying to carve something new and was stopped. The symbol kind of looks to you like a dwarf or something like that. It's a bearded figure. You've never seen a ogre with a particularly grand beard. They can get facial hair, but so looking around the scene, it seems that, and then it all kind of clicks to you a little bit, that ogres aren't a magical people, but they are a spiritual people. This ogre that died was asking spirits for guidance. Whether it died deliberately is hard to tell, but it died while trying to commune with the spirits. Maybe that went wrong, maybe this was exactly what it intended, because something was happening in the community, perhaps related to whatever this idol is that someone tried to carve onto the meeting stones. The other carving on the meeting stones is like fresh water that way, shelter that way, humans that way, halflings that way, elves that way, like very basic symbols.
No, it says
and arrows.
shelter in a direction, which is presumably there.
It points towards a forest to the west.
Right. And to the west, because I'm trying to place where we are now, because I'm not looking, like, obviously we don't have a
No,
big
so
map.
where you are now is, you know, above Palmoro.
Yeah.
If you just went straight north, you would go through this forest. You
Right.
kind of left through the north, off towards the east a little bit, towards this hilly land, these hill lands before the mountains.
Right.
They eventually get like much more hilly and then mountains, right? There's a giant forest that's like this frozen sort of tundra-y forest to the south of Palmaro, to the southeast.
Right.
But this is much more of, you know, where just spots of forest grow up in plainslands.
Right.
That is safer for people to, you know, hunt in and stuff like that. It's that sort of forest. Which would make sense to where ogres would live, to your understanding. I mean, ogres live pretty much anywhere, but still. Anywhere that isn't super hot. They don't really like heat.
So, they live that way. They
Okay.
didn't like this guy.
Okay.
This guy was carving something.
Right.
That looks like a big old beard. So, putting that together, ogres don't really have beards. Or if they do, they're
Never.
scraggly and not very magnificent. This is
I like the idea that you like look at Tobias as you're saying that.
100%.
Because I know I've pulled that move before on a particular friend's.
Mm-hmm. Now,
Sassy.
what that means is that there is very likely something going on in that community that this ogre did not like. Very likely, based on the meeting stone, he was trying to commune with spirits. Those spirits came into his body, killed him, as spirits do. You know, that old tale. And
What's
then,
he talking about?
and then he was attacked by other ogres. So it seems
Right.
to me that the aggression probably wasn't from this ogre that we just killed. Unfortunately, that probably means that the establishment of the ogre camp might actually have some issues right now that we should probably look at solving.
So what I'm hearing is we need to go kill some ogres.
Maybe not kill,
What I'm hearing is that we need to involve ourselves in their business.
precisely.
because they're still attacking the townsfolk here.
Precisely.
So-
We haven't done our community service yet. Isn't that right, Virik?
Yep.
What did you do? What did you even do that got you in jail?
I robbed someone. We may have had a lot of money.
Poorly, I might add.
Hey, now, I got away.
Now you got caught.
You got.
No. You convinced me to turn myself in.
Yes, we did do that.
Wow. That's impressive.
Which
Bruit
part?
and Eleanor. But you convinced him to turn himself in.
Well, we also knew that we could get him out very quickly, and community service is a good way to do that, isn't that right? And Bruit like walks by Virik and just pats him in the chest, and then walks to the west, I guess.
You okay?
Okay.
Never killed an ogre before.
Oh yes, you missed out. We killed several in that one body.
How was it?
Unpleasant.
Yes,
Right.
smelly. Honestly,
Slimy.
yes, a little bit.
It burns.
Gross. Yes, wouldn't recommend it. Continue walking.
Let's someone give me a survival roll to follow ogre tracks or find where an ogre would live and some such.
By someone, you mean me. I
Yeah.
That's correct. Yes.
Tobias.
To be fair, you and I have the
What?
same modifier on survival. Like,
Yeah, I think the only difference is that actually these guys aren't even favorite enemies for me. So
No.
there's a difference.
No. These yeah, but you're also the ranger, which means you're gonna roll better survival anyway.
Just
you
because
just
the dice
are.
know.
Yeah. Go entering this forest again. That it reminds you a little bit of being in the northern lands. It's nowhere near that cold. This forest is actually a little bit boggy. There's areas of thick mud and, areas of stagnant water where, you hear the croaking of frogs and you have to struggle to get your boots to unstick from the mud. But Tobias can guide you around these kind of terrains to easily. Now, luckily, that means big, burly ogres leave big tracks in this mud. It's quite clear where they've been, and they've been stomping around this area. You see at least 2 ogres. And then you see smaller footprints. And then you notice that one of the ogres is much heavier than the others. And you follow them until you actually see 2 of these ogres off in the distance. They haven't really noticed you between the tree cover and the general noise, the din of animal life in the swamp at this time of year. And boy, do they look a little strange.
I would like to try to sneak up and get it close enough, which I think is 60 feet away, to use my thing. Hunter senses. I think I have to, 60 feet.
Why don't you give me a stealth check to get awful close to some ogres?
I'm also going to do this for the whole party.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Makes
Let's
sense.
see how this goes. It's a 27.
Yeah, no, I'm not even gonna roll. Ogre ain't gonna see that. You approach through the tree cover and the foliage. Now, let me first describe what you see.
Mm-hmm.
The 3 ogres. One of them was sort of laying down behind a hillock on its back. They've got very good equipment. Very good equipment. From your understanding, ogres don't make anything other than simple jewelry and spiritual items. Their equipment is very well made, although you can't really tell much more than that from this distance, but they're like heavy stone and metal gear. One of them is carrying a massive crossbow. It could be like a ballista. It's big even for the ogre, and has large, is actually carving logs of wood to be used in the bow with a big knife. Again, a very high quality. The another one has this harness on it that is like a mobile fortress. It's made up of all these fine metal parts that kind of jangle as it's looped around it in chain. And on top of the fortress are 4 neblings, which Tobias would know of. They are a type of goblinkin that was enslaved by giants aeons ago, and are actually stronger than your average goblin. Instead of being fast and wiry, these grey-skinned goblins have a much more muscular bodies, better bone structure, big noses which are sniffing out in the air, because the neblings on top of this like miniature fort, even though this ogre is sitting down and eating breakfast, just eating a sheep, just raw, fluff and all. They're looking around. They've got javelins, which again are fairly alright make. They actually look like they might be used for bolts on a bigger weapon. And there's a couple more of these neblings around, and they're kind of doing the more basic things in camp, washing, cooking equipment and stuff. Oh,
right,
and then you get your hunter's sense.
Right. Just see what's up with these guys.
They don't really have any vulnerabilities or resistances or anything. Ogres are just big, strong creatures.
No, that's good, yeah. I just wanted to do that considering the information the party told me earlier.
Yeah, no, you don't seem to notice any, spiritual whatever or anything like that. They just seem to be big, strong ogres.
Just regular scary, not spiritually scary. Okay, copy that. I'm just gonna skulk away and sneak back to the party and then explain essentially everything that you just explained to me that I saw.
Dangerous.
Yeah. The one you guys fought wasn't wearing this kind of stuff, was he?
No.
Are ogres just like stupid? Like, do you think they made this, or did someone make it for them?
I saw a big beard. Dwarves tend to make pretty good craft.
Well then.
I think, I hate to suggest that our problems all come back to the original problem, but, giants and primordials, pretty interconnected.
God damn it.
So what I'm hearing is that it's not a question of if we take these down, it's a question of how.
I think... No, I think it becomes an issue of we need to plan how that will take place if either myself or Eleanor is unsuccessful in convincing them to stop attacking the town.
Yeah, because didn't they say that they used to not have issues with the ogres?
That's correct.
I think Eleanor is very good at convincing people to stop attacking things when she moves their head.
This is true.
Burrowit is going to walk. Like, he's going to stand up, no longer being sneaky at all.
Okay.
And he's just going to say, go hide. If I don't convince them, well...
I just give you a wink and a...
I'm incapable of hiding, so I might as well come with you.
This is literally what happens every time, and it's hilarious.
Yep.
You two go, the two sneaky people go and hide, while you two just walk up to the ogre camp.
Yeah, so like I'll take the left, Jarek, if you want to take the right.
My weapon
sweet like swap hands and like fan out around.
Yeah, I want to point out, Ollie, just for so you know, I like Burrowit is still carrying the tree face shield on his back. The buckler is actually hanging off of his belt, and so he just picks that one up when he's. But like just so you know, for thematic purposes, it's still there in case I lose this buckler as a just in case. Mostly just reminding you because that could happen, and I know that you're evil.
It's good to set. I always like to hear how your characters handle their gear and stuff. Anyway, it's nice.
Exactly. So Burrowit has the shield like kind of at the ready. His hand is in the buckler, but it's not off his belt yet. So he's not looking aggressive. He just looks like he has his hand on his
When
shoulder.
you become within, so it's like that you can see them. They don't really notice you because these ogres are clearly waking up, getting their gear ready. When one of them sees you, it's the one with the giant crossbow that will actually, before it even stands up, point it at you and kind of clearly ready it. It has like this like big pull lever, and it will stand up and it will just like yell out in common, just a "Stop right there!" And then you see the Neblings kind of, and then they kind of, or everyone sort of sets up in a bit more of a
reply
position.
in giant. Hello, fellow travelers. The giant equivalent of that is.
Yeah, exactly. I imagine that's like a common phrase even in giant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in giant, because you guys understand. Just what are you doing here?
We are investigating attacks from the local town to the south.
Don't know there's a town to the south.
Alright, then we have no problems then.
Yeah.
Can we continue walking?
Kind of like look to each other. And like all their equipment jangles and shifts uncomfortably. Like, go other way. This is our camp today.
We have food. We're willing to share. Share your campfire?
Just nods as well. Like
They kind of like look
big old
over
grin.
the lot of you, and then they look back to the one sheep that one of them's eating. It's like, how much food have you got? We need a lot of food.
I think we have enough for you.
Ration.
Yeah.
how many rations do I have?
Can you guys
10
give
days of
me
rations on us.
a perception check, both of you?
Yes.
Can I do that?
You
I'm
guys are too
watching-
far away to see this.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Sorry. Lost my character sheet.
Barut, you notice that one of the Neblings, the one that has the fortress on its back, one of the Neblings crawls down and whispers into the ogre's ear. You don't hear what it is, but you see the ogre's change of reaction. It's like shifts and moves, and moves its like club, which is actually a very fine quality mace. It's like, no, they can't stay here. Move along or be smashed.
I turned to Barut. That seems odd, doesn't it?
I mean, it seems like what they're suggesting is that we can't pass through to continue our investigation. It seems as though they want us to stop here for their investigation, or for our investigation rather, which would seem to
You know, investigate us. Move along.
I think the issue here is that there's been a miscommunication. I think that's the real issue. They think we're investigating them. That's absurd, isn't it?
You could give me a deception check.
I will assist you with that by nodding along and therefore
right.
give.
Well, I already rolled it, but
We'll let that one lay. The other two ogres, the one with the crossbow and the one that just has like a big, finely made club mace thing, are like, no, they got food. And the one that doesn't have anything fancy, they have a big club, but it's not fancy as their stuff. Is like, I want food. You didn't get me food. They get food.
we're not here to investigate you see. We're just trying to understand what's happening in the area. Trying to gain understanding, that's all. Not investigate.
The two that aren't the one with the fortress sit back down heavily. It makes the ground shake a little and the water sort of shift. The one with the fortress kind of takes a couple of steps, everything jangling and clanking. You actually notice a couple of the Neblings hop off the fortress and kind of scurry away through the forest. They walk on their knuckles and kind of drag themselves along very clumsily. They're not really like built properly. And leave, but then eventually that ogre will sit back down and be like, I will take more food.
Burrow's gonna pull out all 20 of his rations that he has.
Yeah, I 10 days worth as well.
You just like pile it up by their like fire, And then the ogres will
Please,
kind of come over.
enjoy.
I'll pull out the ale that I have too.
Tipsy drink.
I'm actually going to pull out the remainder of the Crimson Mountain whiskey that I have as
Ooh.
well. And I'm going to put that down in front of them as well.
Better tipsy drink.
They will. The ogres will come a bit more closer to the fire and eat and drink a little. The rations honestly don't super interest them. Ogres clearly are much more interested in raw meat.
Yeah.
But they don't stop eating it. They just don't seem to enjoy eating it very much.
Right.
They just still like a hand into the pile of rations, into mouth. Even the Neblings kind of like snatch a little bit and scurry away.
It's like the potato chips when you have them by your desk, but you're thirsty. You don't want anything salty.
Yeah, they're like, this is shit.
Exactly.
I don't even like Cool Ranch. You just keep eating them.
So you guys didn't know there was a town to the south. Is that right?
They kind of like look at each other, and the big one with the fortress is like, no!
Well, that's very interesting. It's a fairly big area. I thought you guys might have been aware of it, but that's very interesting. You know,
why would we care about little people?
Well, because some of them like to share their food. Some of them
one
like
of the
good
other
company.
ones laughs and like slaps its belly.
Yeah.
Makes a good drum noise.
Good. And some of them like good conversation, and you lot seem like good conversationalists.
We're the best talkers.
I'm not going to disagree with you. I've had
That's
a lovely
why
time.
we're the special ones.
The special ones, you say?
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
At that point, you see one of the Neblings actually throws a pebble, and he's like, "Oh, not special, regular ogres."
You seem
Right.
awfully special.
Well, you're certainly special to us because you allowed us to share your camp with you.
If you want remains of breakfast and like stinking back legs of a sheep,
Oh, that's very kind of you. Thank you. I will take it, and I'll just say I did eat my fill of rations as well, but this will do really well for us.
we
on the
don't
trip
eat
back.
rats. Too small.
No, that's a very wise decision on your part. So, now, those fellows over there, the one who threw the pebble at you just a moment ago, why did he throw that pebble at you? That seems not very nice.
They're stupid. They're simple little things.
Oh. Well, it's not
Carry
very nice of him
good,
to
clean good.
Oh, I see. Now, just out of curiosity, I don't know if you're familiar with the concept, but I am a historian of sorts. I tend to write stories about the people that I meet and the histories of their people. They're ogres, but I have never met someone in my life who isn't special. There's always a story behind them to tell. You know, Eleanor here, for example,
I will take a big swig of whatever alcohol left.
Eleanor here, for example, cares deeply for a group of children that most people wouldn't know, but she actually puts them up in homes and takes good care of them. She has that story to tell about her people, and it's not always a happy story that people have, but there's still a story there that sometimes people need to hear. I'd love to hear your story.
You can give me a persuasion check.
It's not bad.
And you know what? While he's doing this, I kind of want to saddle up to the little tiny ones
Yeah.
and just be a little bit imposing. Just put like a hand on their shoulders and grip them really tight.
You can give me an intimidation check.
As if to be quiet.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Great.
You do that, the
Perfect.
big ogre is like, well, And then the little one, as soon as you put like a hand on the shoulder, you hear like a crunching underneath, and it just screeches. And then the ogres, you kind of see almost like when you see Tobias enter a rage, like kind of the film kind of cover their eyes. Just hearing that, they get up. They quickly pull themselves up, mud spraying all over the place, ready their weapons. The other Neblings are yelling something out in Giant. They're yelling out.
You don't speak Giant.
I know. And what it's yelling, this is like the one next to the one you're intimidating, which is like, they're attacking us! Fire Lord demands! You fight them! Fight them! Fight them! Like while running away and actually climbing up the fortress on the other one's back.
That was the best freeze we have ever had.
Was I full point?
Like, yeah.
Full goblin? The goblin said the Fire Lord demands you fight them, fight them, fight them, Fire Lord.
Oh.
Blah, blah, blah.
Interesting.
And climbed up the fortress's back, and they're gonna get ready to give you the old bippin' boppin', but that's after a break.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get to roll your persuasion checks on the battle map next time.
Yep.